There we go. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I am here to have a fireside chat with my bro, Tatiana. How goes it?
Very well, thanks. It's nice to see you again. We haven't hung out in a little while, but
I know we had a blast on the blockchain's cruise, and it's just been a miss. I think I didn't I see you at World CryptoCon actually.
I think so. Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
you at
that
World
was a
Cup.
blur. I mean, it was my 30th birthday. I hardly remember the weekend.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was a fun conference. I mean, Vegas is always a good time.
True
Um,
that. Yeah. Yeah, no, it usually is. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? Let them know a little bit about yourself and let them know how what you're up to, who you are, what you do.
sure. So hi everybody. My name's Tatiana Moroz. I'm a singer-songwriter. I have a business called Crypto Media Hub. We do PR and marketing in the crypto space as well as events. I also have a podcast, The Tatiana Show, and Proof of Love, which has been kind of an interesting journey, trying to meld the hearts of the broken tech people. And then what else do I do? I'm a public speaker, and I have been in crypto since 2012 when I bought my first bitcoins at $11, which I sold at some point, unfortunately.
I feel like a lot of people did back then, but did you use it? Like, how did you just speculate, or did you use Bitcoin when it was $11? How did you end up letting it go?
Well, so I guess I should give it a little bit of background because it's sort of a strange thing for me to be involved in technology in the first place. So I grew up in Jersey. I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and when I came back, I started working at a lot of different major recording studios in New York. But I had been very influenced by dystopian novels and the 60s and 70s singer songwriters that had a really strong message behind their music, especially,
Right.
for example, Cat Stevens with Peace Train. That was like sort of a moment for me. And in 2011, even though I had been politically active leading up to that, I didn't really know anything until I learned about the Federal Reserve. And so when I learned about the Federal Reserve, I realized these are my enemies. And so I joined the Ron Paul movement, and it was wonderful. It was one of the most beautiful times in American history because the 2016 election was disgusting, and I'm glad that I didn't participate. But
Same.
2012, yeah, with the Ron Paul revolution, it really was a mixing of the left and the right, and I was honored to sing all around the country for thousands of people. One of those gigs was actually with our friend Mike Salvi down in Philly, which was wild because it was over 4,000 people
Was that the
standing.
end of Fed event?
Yeah,
That's awesome. I was at one. I don't know if I was at that one because I don't. I actually I think I was because there was one where I was at where Jeff Berwick did a rap in the middle of like the street in front of the Federal Reserve building or something.
I don't think that Jeff was at this one, if I recall correctly. It was me. I think Jordan Page played, and it was pouring rain, and it was very
Oh
cold.
no, I wasn't. I wasn't there, but I wish I was now.
Yeah, it was really amazing. It was probably the biggest crowd I've ever played for, and what was really amazing about it was that I was a little bit nervous, but when I looked out onto the audience in the icy cold rain, and I thought to myself, wow, these people are here, they're so committed. Like, who cares about my nervousness? I was just full on into amped mode, so it was really an amazing time. And that's around the time that me and Mike Salvi had become friends. Um, but by August of 2012, I became completely disillusioned with the political process. The elections are rigged. Newsflash, fake news, fake since a long time ago when they wouldn't allow Dr. Paul any kind of screen time. They would sort of, edit what he was saying in order to make him look like an old coop. And in reality, he had one of the largest followings in recent political history. So at that time, I was doing a gig down in Tampa for the RNC, and BitPay sponsored me. So
Oh
Tony,
wow.
yeah, and then so Tony Galippi and Steven, they believed in my work. So thanks, guys.
Respect.
Yeah, they're awesome. And so yeah, I actually just talked to Tony, so he'll be here next week too. But so they came up to New York after the conference, and they told me all about Bitcoin. And the way I tell in, which is, I don't mean to insult anybody, but I was so bored. and
That is the truest response, though.
well, and the thing is that Steven and Tony are really smart guys, and they know how to explain this stuff. And I knew that the Federal Reserve is my enemy. And yet I had a really hard time seeing why this was necessary. But I thought, okay, they've invested 3 hours trying to convince me, to do this. So I took my measly little $500 or whatever that I had, and I bought some Bitcoins. And as it went up, of course, I got a little bit more interested, right?
Right.
Obviously. And so I started thinking, here I am, a person who already understands that the Federal Reserve is bad, but I can't get into this technology because A, I hate tech, B, I hate finance. But I love revolution, especially a peaceful revolution, and I love empowering freedom for people around the world. And to me, Bitcoin, it was like the veil was lifted, and it became clear to me that Bitcoin could be more powerful even than music. But nonetheless, I can't build a Bitcoin. Well, actually, so I decided to make a song called the Bitcoin Jingle, and I started it out sort of as like a quick sales pitch, but I realized soon enough that it actually was a little bit more like an actual song, because the message was true, and it was something that resonated with a lot of people. So I went down to the Latin American Bitcoin conference in December of 2013, which is right around the time. Yeah, that's right around the time when Bitcoin was really peaking. And I sang to a room full of 300 people, and they were like, "Ah!" They loved it, and it was really cool. And then afterward, I did the Masters of War song, which is a famous cover that I did during the Ron Paul days. And I became good friends with Andreas Antonopoulos, who's also obviously very anti-war. And then I became a lot closer with the Let's Talk Bitcoin crew. I had met Adam Levine before that. So, that was sort of the beginning, but it certainly has evolved since then.
So you mentioned Mike Salvi earlier, and I wanted to segue back. I know you're doing something in New York. Why don't you let everybody know if they're in town for Magical CryptoCon or Consensus or several of the other events that are taking place in Blockchain Week New York City? Let everybody know where they can come and hang out and participate in your event.
Oh, it's going to be so cool. So me and Mike Salvi are putting on an event at 230 Fifth Avenue, which is a beautiful venue. Yeah, there he is, guys. Haha, what are they called?
Ha for hire.
I call them the Chuckle Tang Clan. I'm not sure if that one's gonna last, but I like it anyway. So Mike and I, we wanted to do something a little bit fun because the bear market is still here, even though I guess today was a big price rally. But right when I was gonna buy
right.
Coin, right? I'm like, oh, awesome. So anyway, we wanted to do something that's a little bit fun and not something that costs $1,000 or $2,000 to attend. It's a free event for the community. We have over 16 different musicians and comedians, and we're all going to just put on a really awesome show. Most of the artists are, actually all the artists own cryptocurrency, and some of them have kind of crypto-focused music. Naomi Brockwell, I'm sure some of your audience are familiar with her, so she's going to be doing a set. Bailey Rutzel from CoinDesk is trying out stand-up for the first time. So that's super cool. And
respect the CoinDesk. Okay.
Yeah, I know. And so we've got a ton of really awesome people coming out. And if people go to cryptostaravents.com, they can register there. We want people to register so we know how many people to expect. We're coming up to close to about 250 people registered, but the event holds quite a lot. So, I want to get up to like 400 registered by the time that we get there. And I think it's possible. It's a Saturday night. It's the middle of Magical CryptoCon. So I know MCC is having a party afterward, but maybe people want to stop by there and then come to our thing and see some live music and comedy. I also like that it's not just dudes.
Right. I can imagine a lot of the other crypto events are going to be mostly dudes.
Well, I think that we have actually more female performers than we have male performers.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it's cool. And not just, singer-songwriter chicks, which we do have quite a few of those, but a lot of the comedians are funny girls. So I think it's nice to have something that's not so intimidating. We will have, of course, a really large crypto audience, but I'm encouraging people to bring their non-crypto friends that maybe feel the same way that I felt about crypto originally, that it was boring and technical and horrible. And then, they get a couple laughs, they hear some songs, they meet some people, and they think, oh, maybe this is something that I can get interested in.
So this is on the 11th, right?
Yeah, Saturday night, May 11th, from 7 to 1. We have a special surprise DJ coming at the end. someone from the community that I think people will be really happy to see this DJ set. And yeah, I don't know. We're pumped, and it's going to be a good way to kick off a really exciting week while remaining energetic because we're not all burnt out from a week of going crazy and running to 50 events a day. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a busy week, that's for sure. And I'm more of a after party hopper myself, so I'm definitely gonna be at all of them. But hey guys, if you want to hang out, maybe recreationally indulge and participate, and then listen to some comedy and music, guys, I'll be there the 11th. So definitely stop by, and like Tatiana said, it's free. You can hodl your satoshis and still have a good time.
yeah, absolutely. We're still trying to get a drink sponsor. We'll see if we can pull something together last minute. But if people get their free drink on at the MCC conference, then they could just like take a bunch of shots and then leave. But other than that, I mean, it's a free night and it's a good way to, I don't know, make some friends. And that's what we wanted to do, is have something fun. There's a lot of stiff stuff going on, but
Yeah.
what really brought us all together is the spirit of, freedom and exhilarating revolution and all this cool stuff. So we wanted to capture that a little bit and crack
Yeah,
people up.
if you don't feel like getting stuck with a bunch of sharks in suits and hearing their pitches for their ICOs, IEOs, and STOs and all the other ABC 123s, skip all the boring after parties and come on hang out with us on the 11th. And yeah, you're not going to have to waste your experience in New York City getting shilled. That's what I hated the most about going to a lot of those after parties at conferences is I'm here to have, this is the after party, not an after shill event. Like, you let me relax.
Yeah. Well, there's not going to be a lot of shilling, but we are going to hear from our sponsors. I want to make sure that I say thank you to
Who's sponsoring it? You got sponsors?
So my good friend Ryan from Ryan Singer from chia.net, we're actually putting out a show on the Tatiana Show, an interview with him, Mike, and O'Briani O'Brien from Lennox Group. She's formerly from Ernst & Young, so people might know her from that, but now she has a management company. Altangent Labs, which has a product called blocktap.io, which is like a data processing.
Cool.
And you might know Daniel Maras. He did the Rise and Rise of Bitcoin movie with his brother.
Yeah. I met him.
They're an amazing team. I really, really like those guys. We've also got Edge Wallet, which everybody knows Edge.
Paul plays, my boy.
I know, but I don't think that Paul is going. So
no, I think he's protesting, I think. Silent protest of the consensus.
Protested by coming to us, but they are supporting us, so I'm really, really glad. And then we have a couple media sponsors. So we have Bitcoin Magazine, which is like home team for me. I love those guys.
I got Crypto Culture Magazine. Maybe we could get them. I'll reach out.
Oh, that's a great idea. I don't know about that magazine. I'm gonna have to check it out more.
It's a Canadian one. That's probably why.
That's okay. I like Canada. People in America make fun of Canada. And it's like,
oh, I love Canada.
Right?
If I could just up and leave and move anywhere, I'd probably just go to like probably BC somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's pretty nice.
Vancouver is so welcoming.
Yeah, I've heard Vancouver is really nice. My good friend Lisa Chang, she's out there, and I haven't never gone to visit, so maybe one day. But then we also have a music sponsor partner from on the media side, which is Sonic Scoop. A friend of mine, David Weiss, who I work with, and he has a media publication, Sonic Scoop, that does music engineering focused articles, and they've been around for a really long time. And so we're trying to pull a little bit of that crossover between the arts and crypto. And so they'll be announcing that to their audience early next week. We didn't want to, do it right away because people kind of make their plans last minute. So it should be a really good cross section. And of course, my company, Crypto Media Hub, is also helping me sponsor. So
well, it's awesome that you got sponsors for this event because it's a bear market. So anybody that's actually supporting any growth in this space right now, like, much respect to all the sponsors for supporting you and Mike and everything that you guys got going on. And I wanted to touch on your album here because I got this Keeping the Faith right here, and probably one of I haven't opened this one. This is my collector's edition. I actually have two. And you signed the disc on the other one, which I love. You signed it for me on my birthday, and you gave me one of your coins. And I wanted to talk about like the tokenized music concept and where that came from and where you're going with it.
Sure. So when I got into crypto, I was very disillusioned with the music industry. I've been very disillusioned with the music industry. It's really hard to get ahead unless it's like who you know and who you blow. And I'm not anybody, and I guess I know some people, but I'm not from, it's not the easiest situation for people to get ahead. And it was really, really frustrating because I would work at these beautiful studios and you'd have these really crappy artists performing and they would just smoke weed the whole time, which is fine. But like, you're paying thousands of dollars for studio time. There are so many artists that would appreciate this opportunity. But the music industry, basically from Britney Spears onward, has been in a slow decline.
It has.
Decline. And I would posit that that's because the major labels, they don't have an incentive beyond making money. They've become these big fat beasts, right? And so they don't care about actually making art. They care, or even taking a chance.
Yeah, they've made memes out of music. That's what's unfortunately happened. Like, all these artists are now living memes.
Yeah, it's like a lot of porno pop, especially,
Yep.
I grew up and look, people can get down and have sex, awesome. But our culture has really devolved in a lot of respects. And as a girl that had my family, my dad and my mom divorced when I was 13, and I had wonderful outlets of music, these amazing female singer-songwriters, but who are little girls going to turn to for a role model these days? Like
Nicki Minaj.
Right, Nicki Minaj. I mean, Jesus, these girls are terrible. So I don't think that that's like necessarily a good thing. And more importantly, it was about the ideology and the things that I was thinking about. Look at, you could stop a war back in the day because of music. And now we've been waging war for almost 20 years nonstop, and there's no solution to it and there's no end. And yet you don't hear a single song on the radio that says, end the wars. And it's like, why? All of a sudden, now that's not a popular concept. All the artists just love war. Of course not. It's that there's no money in that. Right. So what I started to think about was, okay, we did the Bitcoin jingle, and then me and Adam Levine started talking. Adam from Let's Talk Bitcoin, holla at my boy. And so we started talking about how we could empower artists a little bit more. And so we took two different concepts that are probably a little bit more familiar, because this was almost like an early ICO. And we took the idea of Indiegogo. So as an artist, you can collect money to raise money for an album. But let's say you donate $50, you give them a t-shirt. Okay, right. Sayonara, that's it. Big deal. But with the Tatiana coin, they could donate $50. They would get $50 worth of Tatiana coin. They could hodl some of it. They could send $5 worth to their mom, $5 worth to their sister, and spread the music around and support me that way. And it's a cool way to get them to open up a wallet.
Right.
That was my sneak attack, because people aren't necessarily going to care about cryptocurrency because they care about economic policy. But let's say you made a Taylor Swift coin. We would all have a lot more value to all of our cryptos the next day, because we'd onboard so many different people into this community. And then on the other hand, I was really frustrated with social media. As a broke artist, like 99% of the artists, I signed up for all these different social media sites, like MySpace, Friendster, YouTube, Facebook. And by the time I got to Facebook, I realized I keep building up an audience for a platform to monetize. And then if I leave the platform, I don't even have contact with my own fans. And now if I want to reach my fans on Facebook, they make me pay. And even with this event on May 11th, CryptoStarEvents.com, in case you want to go, they wouldn't let me do an advertisement for
No,
it.
They wouldn't. Yeah, they don't let you promote anything crypto related, even if it's an after party. It's pretty ridiculous.
Well, yeah, they just had the big news about taking off Alex Jones and Milo Yiannopoulos and I think Farrakhan or something. I don't know. They took a whole bunch.
Yeah, they're all gone. And
that's really, really frightening. So, here are these people that built up this whole entire career.
Yeah, how much money did they make Facebook single-handedly, just to get, swooped away by terms and services?
Unbelievable. And, my good friend Carrie Wedler and they have Nick Burnaby, they had the antimedia.org, and they still have that. But they had, I think, like 5 million followers or something on Facebook. I don't even know how many they had, but a ton. And they completely decimated their business, completely just destroyed it when they shot them off. And they didn't even give them a good reason as to why. So F those guys. That's why I made Tatiana coin, because now if people have my coin, I can always connect with them.
Right.
And so we raised money. We funded that album that you're holding, and I'll tell people about that. But what we figured out is that it's not enough to make a coin. And this is like so stupid, but I don't know how things are built on the computer and on the internet. So I thought, okay, you make a Tatiana coin, and all the things in my mind I envisioned that you could do with it, it would just be there. But apparently not.
Right,
So
right. It's like having a website. You just buy the domain and all the buttons exist, right?
that's exactly what I thought it was going to be, which is pathetic and also infinitely frustrating. But I was lucky. I had an amazing team, and Adam started a company called Token Leaf. And so now we have a platform called Token.fm, which we're getting funding for right now, and hopefully finally be able to sort of realize that vision of creating an empire.
Token.fm.
Yeah, we don't really talk about it because everything is built and ready to go, but we're not trying to promote anything until we have the right marketing budget and the right
Right.
circumstances. We were going to do an ICO a couple of years back, but our attorneys said, don't do it. And they were right.
Right.
And, you know, the last thing I want to do is create an unsafe place for artists to innovate. And then all of a sudden the government starts knocking on their door. You know, that's not exactly ideal. But the thing that I thought was really important about that album, though, and if you see the album cover, it's a hand drawing of me, is that it's a drawing done by Ross Ulbricht in prison. So I became friends with Lynn Ulbricht, and she told me the story of Ross. And when I first heard about the Silk Road, I thought to myself, okay, well, you know, what kind of person makes a freaking drug website? Doesn't seem like a good idea. But when you find out what the culture was like at the site, what was the objective, how it was proven to reduce violence in the drug trade and to make it safer for drug users, and also that it wasn't just drugs. I mean, they had a doctor that could tell you if you were ODing what you should do, because a lot of times people, they don't want to, you know, go to the cops. They don't want to call.
My biggest go-to was you could buy antibiotics without needing a permission from a doctor and a permission from a pharmacist to not die. You could just get your antibiotics, which is like crazy that that's even a problem in this society in 2019. But if you can't afford 2 levels of permission, then the fee to get the medicine, you're gonna die.
Yeah, it's definitely something, like, there are a lot of unintended consequences when trying to keep us safe.
Right.
And so I became friends with Lynn, and then I became friends with Ross, and also with Callie. So free Ross, everybody. And I wrote a song about the Silk Road because I wanted to humanize the story for people. And I did that, and then I started to visit Ross at various prisons. Well, I went to 2 of them. There's not that many, but I went to visit him probably about a dozen times, and we became very good friends. And for my birthday, he drew that picture of me, which is actually based on a photograph taken by Judd Weiss, a famous libertarian photographer. And so it ended up being this art trifecta. And I thought, wow, I want to use this for my album cover. Thanks for the gift. And so every time I hand somebody that album, I can not only tell them about the Silk Road story, which is so important. As people know, please sign the petition. The only way to get Ross out of jail at this point is to get a pardon. So there's a petition on change.org, and people can find out on the freeross.org website the link for that. But, you know, I could tell them about what happened to Ross, but then I can also say, look, if I was on a major record label, they wouldn't necessarily allow me to take this potentially contentious position. So that's a really big problem, because art is meant to push back against the system, so to speak. And it has traditionally always done that. But now, because it's become this kind of, I don't know, warped, perverse porno pop world, there isn't really a place for that. But that is critical to humanity. And
yeah, it happened to media, journalism, and entertainment, movie, music, and art itself has all been basically monopolized and censored into an awkward echo chamber of corporate entities' agenda. You know, it's like all of it, if you look at across the map, it's all got like one flow of an agenda. When we look back 50 years ago or even less, right, it had so much more diversity across the board.
Well, I think that was a problem. I mean, they are kind of idiots, but they're not complete idiots in that they realize that, look at what happened in the 60s and 70s. Look at how pissed they were at John Lennon and all of those. And if I were in power, I would not want that out there. Hell no. Because that's something that you can't control. That emotional feeling that you have when you listen to an artist for the first time or any other time, you literally love them. If you like an artist, you will love them forever. And like, you have this
Bono could start a revolution today.
Yes, which would be questionable because Bono is also a little bit of a weirdo. But anyway, globalism. But the point is that I wanted to basically give artists a way to connect directly with their fans, and then this way the fans can support the ideas that they want, and so it doesn't become this whole cartel. And so that's what we did with Tatiana Coin, and that's why we made that album, Keep the Faith, and it's allowed me to tell that story in a way that hopefully is waking up people that wouldn't necessarily find this so appealing. You know, people on my music, from my music world, were very uninterested in cryptocurrency originally, but I think partially through seeing some of my work and also the evolution of the space, people are getting a lot more interested.
Right.
And I think if you can get them to understand like the revolutionary aspects of it and not necessarily get bogged down in the tech, you can get a lot
That's why
more.
I think it's so appealing to the anarchist in this country as a tool, as a microphone, right? It's I don't know. Are you going to Anarchadelphia event in Philadelphia?
When's that?
I can't remember the exact date. I believe it's September.
Well, I have something in Chicago in September, potentially in Wisconsin, and I have to be in Latvia, maybe in Mallorca. But Philly's not too far from me. We're both Jersey kids. So I'd love to make it down there. I love the Philly community. There's a lot of really great action going on around the country. New York is a little bit less cool, but what are you going to do?
Right. Well, that's why I fell in love with the whole End of Fed thing, because it was my first one that I went to, but I was like, just the quality of the people. There was hundreds of people, but I didn't realize how much like quality there was until I started to go to things like in New York City and other events, and I was like, wow, Philly's really like biased as hell, but Philly's really got something going where it comes to like the anarchist movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that Mike Salvi is definitely like a really big component of that community. And I don't know, it's really great to see that he's pursuing his passion and his dreams with this comedy stuff, and it seems to be really taking off. I'm psyched to see a full set of him and his team.
He's been teasing me for months with little tidbits, and I'm like, bro, I'm dying to see this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're going to do a great job. I know they're going to do a great job, and all the artists that we have coming out, I think are going to be really good. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope we get some non-crypto people going. That's kind of my secret dream.
So it's on Eventbrite, right?
Yeah, it's on Eventbrite, but it's unlike the UK one. I don't know why it's there. The easiest place for people to find the link and the most memorable is Crypto Star Events. So star is singular because there's only one star. And then there's multiple events. So I don't know if that mnemonic device will work for people, but there it is.
All right, Crypto Star Events, guys. Check it out. And anything else you wanted to make sure we know about, touch on, or anything that you wanted to mention before we wrap things up here?
Well, yeah, actually, I've been really excited about doing Proof of Love. So I just wanted to kind of tell folks about that. Last year I had this very bizarre love thing happen where I was just I don't know, I felt really hard for this dude. And I realized while that didn't work out, that there were also part of that was some of my own emotional blocks. And because I'm very empathetic, I'm very, artist, I feel everything. I didn't think that I would have up walls, but I found that I did. And I thought about it some more. And I think that our community is neglecting different parts of themselves. Everybody's just go, 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 business, business, business. And meanwhile, wives are leaving husbands, kids are like, estranged from their parents. There's all these, friendships that are being sacrificed because people are singularly focused. And I don't think that that's sustainable. Also, you get crazy people. You don't want people that don't have an emotional tie to the rest of the world to build the future, because they're going to be crazy people and they're not going to make it in a way that is evolving not just the technology, but the emotional intelligence of the world collectively. So what I wanted to do was talk about some of those issues. I brought together my good friend Lauren Kasovitz, who is new to the crypto community, and then also Stephanie Murphy, who you may know from Let's Talk Bitcoin, who's been beloved in the libertarian community as well as the crypto community for many years. And so it's the three of us, and then sometimes we have different guests. And so we talk about all different stuff. So this week, it was, it's not just about like relationships, but it's also about self-love.
Okay.
So
that's really important. A lot of people don't realize you have to love yourself before you can really love somebody else.
Yeah, well, I hate that phrase, but it is true, because what I dislike about it is that people say, oh, you have to love yourself. And it's like, what the hell does that mean? And it's almost an insult.
Right.
Like, what do you mean? I love myself. and you don't really hear what's happening. So through my own vulnerability on the show and through the vulnerability of my co-hosts and the guests, I think that maybe that will allow people to put down the walls a little bit and say, oh yeah, I kind of identify with that. Like maybe this is something that I should also spend some time on. So this week's episode was with Chris Groshong from Coinstructive, and he talked all about his history with alcoholism. And, people pretend that they're not alcoholics, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the people in the space are struggling with that. And I think it's important to talk about that, not only if you yourself are struggling with it, but if somebody in your family or your friends or somebody you're in a relationship with is struggling with that. That was actually what prompted me to start the episode, is a friend of mine who has an alcoholism problem, and I wanted to figure out how I could deal with it because it was making me angry.
Yeah,
and
it's taboo topics like that need to be more talked about publicly and less closed doors.
yeah, and I don't think that people really want to admit that some of those things are an issue. So we also did tantric sex because you need to have a little bit of fun.
I talked a lot about tantric sex at Anarcha, Portugal, which was really awkward for me, but like I did cacao, we meditated, and we got some real in-depth talks going, so it's like I totally feel what you're saying.
Well, I was a little bit skeptical because I'm a little bit woo-woo, but I'm not that woo-woo.
Right.
I didn't know what to expect, especially with a guy being like, tantric sex means you have to have sex with me all the time. Yeah. Like, that's what I thought it was going to be. But Ben...
12-hour sessions all the time, though?
Yeah, well, I do know somebody who can do it, and it's pretty impressive. But anyway, so this guy, he talked all about that. We had Naomi Brockwell on. She talked about sex work. We had Carrie Wedler on talking a little bit about what makes women gravitate toward the left on politics and what maybe could bring them into libertarianism or into anarchy. We had Julia Taransky, where we talked about the Tinder apocalypse. So we've been talking about a lot of different kinds of things and trying to encourage people to have real relationships. Because I think there's like a lot of, and I know that there's a lot of poly listeners and that's popular and stuff, but I don't really think that kind of a culture is really the best ideal thing. And I don't know if it really works out so well. So we're trying to be not like family values, but a little bit more like love values and something a little bit more concrete than the transient nature of all of our relationships. And, there's porn everywhere and like, okay, yay, porn, but not all day long. Like that's not good for procreation.
Right.
So I don't know.
We're Social Security would be real doomed.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to bring people in, right? Oh, that's a good point. But, I'm just trying to bring people in and by being vulnerable myself, I think that maybe that's allowing people to do that too. Like we talked about nonviolent communication, which to me just sounds so annoying because it makes it seem like I'm not a violent communicator. F you, man. Like you get all mad when somebody says that, but right. Actually it was really a good episode, and it's been a little bit like therapy for me. And I think that it's also a little bit therapeutic for the audience. And so you're still getting your crypto stuff because, it's crypto guests, but you're not just talking about the charts all day long, which I don't think that's so interesting.
Well, it's not so interesting, I guess, to the OGs, right? Like, the people that are just coming into this space may want more and more and more of that. Manja, give me the shit, But the people that have been around a while, me personally, and I know a lot of us, we're kind of bored with all that talk. We just want to get to know the people now, and less of the shilly persona.
Yeah. And then, I'm still doing the Tatiana show. And so we're still talking more with like actual projects and also a lot of economists and stuff like that, libertarian figures. But this is a little bit of a different thing. It's something you listen to on a Saturday afternoon when you still want to do something remotely in line with your views, but not necessarily another show about trading.
Right.
Or
tap
about
out.
Latest, Biff and X News is or whatever.
So where can everybody go to like find you, the content, the podcast? I mean, you're really spread out. So like, let everybody know where they can keep up with you.
Sure. So they can go to TatianaMorose.com. They can go to CryptoMediaHub.com, TheTatianaShow.com, and Proof of Lovecast. So podcast, but like proofoflovecast.com. And those are the main places. I'm on Twitter, Queen Tatiana. I'm on Facebook, but at that platform, I'm not going to talk about those losers. I'm on Instagram, and I just put up a picture of some chickens I met in Bahamas.
Yeah.
I just got back from there. I got to tell you, I got back to New York and it's like overcast and miserable out. And in the Bahamas, it's just perfect. So,
Oh, I was in the Bahamas and I was on the beach and I found out when I was trying to buy a souvenir, right? I wanted to buy a souvenir and it was $25 minimum visa fee, like minimum. And there was a
wow.
$5 transaction fee on top. So it was $30 to just
Wow.
right. So I went up to the guy that was doing these knives and I said, "Can I buy this with Bitcoin?"
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up accepting Bitcoin. And
Wow.
I've been in touch with him here and there, and that was back when Bitcoin was like 1,000 or something, maybe 2,000.
Wow.
Um,
That's
so
awesome.
so yeah, and
I,
he was really excited to see like how to cash out because he was like, "How do I even get dollars for this?" And I went and showed him. I was like, "You're in the Bahamas. Just Google Bahama Bitcoin ATM. Go."
mm-hmm. Well, I actually got connected with the Caribbean Blockchain Alliance. I'm going to have them on my show because I mean, Bahamas is kind of weird. You can't do a lot of things there. The government seems to be very involved. But at the same time, my mom is building a house there. I plan on having a presence there long term. And there's so much beauty in the region. And I'm curious to try and maybe make some content out there that, I don't know, maybe brings in not only some more tourism, but some opportunities for the community there to diversify their holdings and maybe get into something new and potentially have that upswing like that knife guy.
Yeah, yeah, no, it really hurts the tourist sales. I was talking to the guy while he was, whittling the knife, and that knife did not look like this before he did a lot of work to it. It was just like a stick, and now it looks awesome, right? So I had a long time to talk, and he basically gets maybe 9 people out of 10 people that are interested turned off because of the minimum fee. He only wanted to charge like $5, $10 for one of these, but because of the minimum transaction fee of $25, it sort of felt like he was trying to scam everybody, right? Like, "Oh, I want to sell you one, but you're gonna have to buy 3 of them at the minimum," right? And it was weird. So he
That's a
actually
bummer.
found out that like those barriers to entry as like a small merchant service was like costing him so much money because it was a turnoff because of the transaction fees. And as I talk to him now, like just the conversations he can start when he says he accepts Bitcoin, people are now more interested in just going through the process of using their Visa because like they're like, "Oh, he's on top of it." So he has really cool stories of just starting conversations now with tourists because and other merchants because it does solve that problem.
If I go down to the Bahamas, what island is he on? Maybe I'll do an interview with him. That would be.
It wasn't Nassau. It was the one that has Michael Jackson's penthouse in the middle.
Oh, I don't know what that one is.
It has like two really big towers, and it's like this bridge, and it's like Michael Jackson's old penthouse that cost like 3 grand a night or something. It's on that
Oh,
island.
oh, wow. Well, we're on Eleuthera. I don't think that there's a Michael Jackson Island there. I was probably going to stop in Nassau, but I don't know. We'll have to connect about it offline. Did you see the movie? It
Which
ruined
one?
my life. The Michael Jackson movie.
No.
Finding Neverland. It's like all about how he raped these 2 little boys.
Yeah,
You
I'm
gotta
not saying it triggers me or anything, but like it's just so hard and uncomfortable to watch that I can't put myself through it. I'm happy that it's out there and they got their story out and it's known now, but like me personally, I don't want to digest that and as a kid, I remember going to like rotten.com and it like totally fucked me up, like ingesting content that isn't where you like we are what we eat, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
we
that's a
are
good
what we
point.
digitally consume. So I just don't want to watch that kind of stuff.
Well, I wanted to see it because I had defended Michael like no other. I was like, how dare you? They're trying to crush him. She's singing about heal the world. They don't like it. Dude, homeboy was raping kids. Not cool. Not even raping them, seducing them,
Right.
falling in love with them. And the worst part was, okay, there's a lot of worst parts, but the
The
worst part
worst
was,
part is we all knew. Everybody knew.
oh, well, I don't think that everybody knew. I understand why
It
some
was
of the
a
parents.
common rumor to the fact that South Park made jokes about it. Come on.
Yeah, but people don't want to believe that. You know what I mean?
That's
But
the
what was
problem though. That's what mainstream media does is they take a real fact, they turn it into a fake news joke, and then they make you look like a crazy person for believing it.
well, that to me is a little bit like Pizzagate. Like
Right,
there's definitely
exactly
a
like
middleman
Pizzagate.
going on, and it's like they're like, oh look, these stupid kids thinking about pizza. First of all, literally that pizza shop is sketchy as hell. Okay, they had all those creepy posters, all those creepy like Instagram pictures of the kids tied up and crap. I think that that pizza shop was sketchy. I don't even believe that that wasn't, but that's exactly what they do with it. They're like, oh, Pizzagate, it's so stupid. Oh, look at this. But I mean, there's evidence for a lot of very sketchy behavior going on in
Well,
these
they
higher.
use their influence to desensitize us and make it part of common culture, meme culture. And it totally plays into the agenda that they can push, right? Like, everybody on every network's going to make this perspective a joke and make people look crazy. And then you see it, right? It comes out on 12 different cartoons or TV shows or movies where this one conversation comes up in that one direction narratively.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but I mean, what are we going to do, right? It makes me think about the fake news, right? Trump is all like fake news, fake news. To me, it feels like not like that conspiracy-ish, but also it's like duh. It
Right. I
seems
wouldn't say fake news as much as it's propagated news.
well, but he didn't coin fake news. When we were doing the Ron Paul stuff, they were already doing fake news. They were already controlling that. And that idea that the mainstream media is sketchy and not to be trusted was already something that was brewing and that was resonating with people. But what he did was he took that and then he mixed it up with his own personal brand of fake revolution. And he took almost some of the good things from the Ron Paul movement and then he leveraged those ideas. I mean, talking about WikiLeaks, for example. Look at this guy now. Oh, I don't know what WikiLeaks is. Really? Really? You don't know what WikiLeaks is? Like, you literally won because of WikiLeaks. You should be thrilled that they exist, and you should let Assange out, as soon as they try and extradite him over here. It's completely horrible what's going on with him. But they took that fake news the same way that they took Pizzagate, and now fake news is just bandied about to say, oh, well, I don't like Fox, they're fake news. Oh, I don't like CNN, they're fake news. Well, guess what? Both of them are fake news dummies. Like, they're all like, and then you have the alternative media, which sometimes does not really have accurate news either. They're just a bunch of crazy kids with a different agenda. So it's kind of funny to see how news has evolved, but dismissing it all as fake news is an easy way to get rid of criticism that's actually justified. So.
Right. And that's what I think crypto and blockchain and these things like smart contracts and DAOs are going to really empower, even like down to like the musicians and journalists, is it's going to bring back independentness, right? Where you don't have to sell out to corporate entities that are sponsored by X, Y, and Z to not allow you to make a song like Silk Road, right? It's so disruptive that we cannot perceive the limitlessness of independent entrepreneurship in the future because we've all been corporatized.
Yeah. Well, I think that we're, I don't want to end things on a sad note. I do believe that we're going in a positive direction. There are some things that are scary, but people are pushing back. And every time that somebody pushes back, like a Chelsea Manning or an Assange or a Snowden or a Ross, and all the other people in between on a lower level, like, we're collectively making a very big impact. And if there's one thing that I think has the biggest impact, it's cryptocurrencies. Take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
Yeah, short the banks, long Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how it turns out. And I've never looked back. I do a lot of music still. I'm recording my fourth record, but I mean, this is like a lifelong thing, I think, where it's the revolution that I was searching for since I was a kid, and I'm happy to be a part of it, and happy for making friends like you and friends like Mike, and I don't know, rock and roll, right?
Likewise, and I'm excited to see what comes of Token.fm because I've been talking about the evolution of media and technology from things like, vinyl records to MP3s to the next what will be. We've had what was MP3 players, we've had MP4 players. Well, what blockchain can do with this is make what is an MP5 player where you need a token to be able to consume the content from that media outlet. And yes, you could still pirate things, but it wouldn't give you true asset ownership with what be all the other features that wallet, which would be the media player, would give you to engage. So it's going to be really interesting, and I'm excited to see what you can do with all this at your disposal.
Yeah, well, I have a really great team over there. I love those guys. I mean, when it's ready, it's going to knock people's socks off, because as an artist, like, I see a lot of the projects trying to tackle some of these problems, and they're not as full scale of a solution as what we've made. Like, we need as many people as we can to sort of build this ecosystem. But I think what we're focusing on is very much about artist empowerment and allowing the artist to become the center. And even if there are labels involved, there's a place for them, but there's a way to make it equitable for everybody. And that's really our goal. We want a level playing field.
Yeah, and that's what's happening with this technology is the playing field has become level. It's just up to the end users to utilize the tools now that exist and opt out of, corporatizing themselves and staying true to independent entrepreneurship because it's just limitless. If everybody's selling out when this is the time to buy in. And I don't
Yeah.
mean that just on the dip or in Bitcoin, but I mean that on in yourself. Like go all in on you and stop going all in on 40 hours a week for X, Y, and Z.
I feel like Mike is the embodiment of that right now.
Yes,
He's like
he is.
quitting
He's
his
totally
job and
living
he's
it.
going full on.
I'm so excited for him, dude. He's like taking the leap, and I'm like, bro, I took the leap 2 years ago, and I haven't had to clock in 40 months or something now. Like, it just keeps going.
Yeah. Well, people are watching this and they're like, I don't know, should I join the Bitcoin revolution? Stop thinking. Join it right now.
Yeah,
Sign up.
there's room for everybody, and we're a community, we're a family. We take care of our own, and whether you're a graphic designer or an audio producer or just a good promoter, if you're a cashier, that is a skill that you could apply to an industry or a company in this industry today, and opt out of the fiat earning 9 to 5 and start earning crypto from whenever to whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So,
yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, guys. One last shout out to freeross.org. Go ahead and sign the petition today and go get your
awesome.
hands on Keep the Faith. And Tatiana's working on her 4th album, guys. Wait for that fire to drop. And thanks so much again, Tatiana. I really appreciate your time. One last time to wrap things up, just let everybody know where to follow you, Twitter or websites.
Sure. So first of all, register for the party May 11th, Saturday at cryptostaravents.com. It's also on the cryptomediahub.com site under news. You can go to tatianamoroz.com, find me on Twitter, Queen Tatiana, and proofoflovecast.com, thetatianashow.com. I'm out there. We need some more love in the world. So I think that's what Bitcoin is about, though, right?
It is.
I use Bitcoin kind of like as like a umbrella term.
Bitcoin is love. One love equals one love, everybody. Thanks again. Check it out. I'll see you guys in New York City. Come on out May 11th. And we're going to be token, joking, and dancing the night away. And don't go to any of those suit and tie events. You're going to regret it. You're going to be bored. Come on out and hang out with Tatiana and Mike Salvi and me in New York City May 11th. Have a day.
Awesome. Later, guys.